What do you know about GMOs?
Do you try to avoid GMOs in your diet?
I do. Yeah.
Tell me why.
There's just a vibration with GMOs. For me personally, just something that I don't particularly want to put into my body.
What does GMO stand for?
Genetically modified. Genetically modified.
The O?
The
O.
The truth is, GMOs are one of the top questions in biotechnology. The average person is misinformed about exactly what a GMO is and how it is able to affect their lives. With the growing debate, it is nearly impossible to find unbiased opinions in the media. Today, 166 countries have ratified the protocol that require the labeling of GMOs. However, the United States is yet to do so. The lack of accessible facts causes people to form misinformed opinions, making it essentially impossible to reach a middle ground. We hope that by the end of this video, you'll be able to form your own opinion.
So what is a GMO?
A genetically modified organism is a plant or animal whose characteristics have been altered by the insertion of a modified gene or a gene from another organism using techniques of genetic engineering. This is done by physically removing a gene from one organism and inserting it into another organism, giving it the ability to express the trait encoded by that gene. The goal is to add one or more new traits that are not already found in that organism in order to enhance its role in the environment. Traditional agricultural practices are very damaging to the environment due to the heavy usage of insecticides and chemical fertilizers. Insect-resistant GM crops allow for farmers to reduce their spray insecticides, improving the quality of the plants and the environment. From 1996 to 2011, biotech crops have collectively reduced global pesticide application by 45%. In perspective, this is equivalent to 20,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of insecticides. Plastic known as biopol contains a GM microbe that is created through the fermentation of plant sugars, starches, and vegetable oils. When the microbe is introduced in the plastic production process, it creates a flexible polymer, allowing biopol to be completely compostable, degrading in the soil just after a few months. This is helpful to reduce the damaging effects of traditional plastics that reside in our landfills for extended period of times. Despite these pros, some believe that GMOs in the environment may not be all that good. Insect-resistant crops may harm species that are not their target, such as monarch butterflies. As well, the insects that GM crops are designed to kill could develop resistances to these crops, ultimately requiring farmers to use more aggressive control measures, such as increased use of chemical sprays. However, more research is needed on the potential of GM crops in transferring their genes to other crops or wild relatives.
The use of GMOs are believed to have some good qualities when applied in the food and agricultural industries. GMOs are aiding in the production of mass amounts of crops in areas that would otherwise make successful farming difficult. With nearly 1 in 8 people suffering from chronic hunger worldwide, GMO crops may be the difference between eating and going hungry for some people. Today, more than half of U.S. farmlands are devoted to the production of GMO crops. Nearly all soybeans and corn are genetically modified. Commonly used Bt corn is much more productive, yielding about 17 bushels more per acre. Additionally, there is less overhead due to the reduced use of pesticides. This is crucial for developing countries because it allows farmers to charge less to consumers, making food more affordable and available. Despite this, others find that GMOs in food and agriculture are more detrimental in comparison to any benefits they may offer. Using GM foods and crops does not actually solve the root of the world hunger issue. Because of the large number of starving areas, access and distribution are difficult to achieve. Heavy regulation from Monsanto and the European Union also make distribution of GMO products in starving areas difficult. Some people believe that corporations like Monsanto are working to control the world's food supply and ultimately gain political power. A negative to GM crops is that genetic pollution may occur. Wind can cause cross-pollination, also known as genetic pollution, by spreading genetic materials from GM crops to organic crops. This compromises the integrity of organic farms that neighbor GM farms and causes issues for consumers who prefer organic food sources.
GMOs have been making breakthroughs in the medical fields. According to UNICEF, the estimated number of child deaths precipitated worldwide by vitamin A deficiency every year lies at 1.15 million. Golden rice is a GM food under development that was modified to contain beta-carotene, a precursor of vitamin A. Golden rice may help to reduce the incidences of blindness in countries where rice is a dietary staple and malnutrition is common. In addition, genetic modification of insects has become an important area of research, especially to prevent parasitic diseases. GM mosquitoes have been developed that express a small protein called SM1, which blocks the entry of the malaria parasite into the mosquito's gut. This results in the disruption of the parasite's life cycle and renders the mosquito malaria resistant. Although GMOs can have positive effects on human health, we must ask ourselves how far we want to go. Designer babies may seem futuristic, but they are not that far off. Studies have suggested that we can change the color of a baby's eye, or possibly protect them against diseases that their parents carry. This may seem cool, but it may be a slippery slope. Currently, we are seeing the effects of GMOs and their link to animal and human health. 90% of the corn in the US is genetically modified. Due to a larger yield in corn, most of the cattle in the US now eat corn. This has created issues for cattle since they have not yet evolved to eat corn. Cattle's inability to digest corn has led to the process of using antibiotics in our meat. This affects human health since we consume cattle and the residual antibiotics. So where does this bring us in our debate? The answer is nowhere.
It is hard to find unbiased opinions in the media and from differing beliefs throughout the world. At the rate that debate is growing, it is hard to come up with an opinion that is not clouded by at least some bias. The real issue here is that genetic modification is a relatively new technique. Much of the confusion and bias about GMOs stems from the lack of conclusive evidence available regarding the effects of GMO products. As time goes on, we hope to reach the truth about the long-term effects of GMOs. The miscommunication and lack of education about GMOs has exacerbated the propaganda war about GMOs in the media. If we are ever going to reach a middle ground and put this debate to rest, we need to change the conversation about GMOs. We need to do more independent research, create an educated discussion, and keep an open mind.